So another odds and ends kind of day here. As you can see, I've got everything in the garage moved around here. So I'm making a huge mess. But in reality, what we're going to do is we're going to bolt the subframe back under my 73 Fury and put the rear end back in it and make this car a roller again. Which it has been sitting on those stands since 2019, I think. So about 5 years now. I'll explain why later, why we're doing what we're doing, but that's our plan anyway. Okay, so I almost made a big whoopsie. You can't get the bolts through those hangers if you bolt them on the car first and then try to put the springs in. So the easiest thing to do is to take and bolt them to the springs and then bolt the springs and the hangers into the car. It's been a long time since this car's had the rear end in it, because it was sitting on jack stands for probably about another year before I put it on these ones, so this is a bit of a learning curve for me too. Okay, there's our springs put together, the hangers and stuff. Naturally, I found the right bolts that I had. Now they're pretty close anyway, they're too short, so when I go to do this I'll buy the right ones obviously, and proper nuts, because I had to thread this one so it had a 5/8 standard thread. But I figured I'd show you this. When I put these springs together, I buggered them. They're not screwed up, but they're not right either. So this spring is properly assembled. That's the way it's supposed to look, right? Because this leaf faces to the rear. Have a look at this one. And this leaf is supposed to be facing the other direction. It's backwards. So that's another thing we'll have to fix. It's kind of why I want to go back and redo my own work. I've learned a lot and done a lot more since I first started doing this car. Okay, springs are in. So as you can see, they come up in here. And you see what I mean about not really being able to get that in there as easy. And then they mount in here, which 2 nuts is enough for what we're doing right now. So the next thing I gotta do is take that rear end, which is sitting there, and spin it around because it's backwards right now, and then we can start getting it ready to mount to the springs. Okay, so if you have a 71 and up C-body Mopar, or a 73 and up B-body, I think A-body, I can't remember, then you have these big guys. So these are part of the isolated suspension package that these cars started getting. I cleaned these all up years ago and painted them and whatever, but what I found at the time was you can buy from Energy Suspension, this is a polyurethane bushing that goes in here on both halves, so it's a bit of an upgrade. But anyway, where I was going with this is these have to go on top of our springs, and then we can start assembling stuff. Okay, I harp on it all the time and I don't know why I don't listen to myself. So I took this car apart quite a while ago, this rear end and everything, and I couldn't remember how to put it back together. I was sitting here trying to figure it out. So I went in the house and I got the manual. So this shows you exactly what we have to do. Right? So there's our lower shock plate. There's the isolator. That's a spring assembly. Isolator. Shock plate, well, clamp plate, whatever you want to call it. And then your differential sits on top of that. That's what I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember the order it went in. So our diff sits on top of here. This sits on top of the spring. Okay, with our rear end flipped around, and yes, I know that lug nut's backwards. I put that there to remind me that I gotta have a look at everything before I'm finished with it. Oh, so here we go. So you can see there's a big hole there that sits on top of there, and then we put our spring on our shock plate on the bottom and put our U-bolts through. which is why I left space here in this brake line. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll show you that stuff assembled. Okay, that's the rear end temporarily kind of put back in the car. See, I can't find the other half of the shackles here. This side here, I don't know what I did with that. So for now, it's going to sit against the trunk floor for a few minutes. And I'm going to see if I can find the rest of the shackles. And then if not, I'll jack it back down and I'll just put a piece of steel in it for now. Okay, one of the problems if you have one of these C bodies like I do is that nobody makes any of this stuff. The front isolators, these rubbers, and they're always destroyed. So this set came from a 1972, I think, Chrysler New Yorker that was in California. So as you can see, they are all in very, very nice shape. So they're what we will use on our car. Okay, so now we're going to do the part that I thought was going to be the hard part that might be the easy part. So with all the hardware sitting where it belongs, all right, so that comes up, bolts through this hole, and then they come up and bolt in here. So now is going to be the moment of truth, because I replaced all of that stuff on both sides. So hopefully it fits. Yeah. Okay, I figured I'd show you this terrifying nightmare before I tighten everything up. But I got the mounts there. I had to come back here with the air saw and cut these open a little bit more. So that's actually a 1970 floor pan I put in this car. So it didn't have these at all cut out. I had to figure that out. Anyway, so that's figured out. Those back mounts are in. Figure I'd slide under here and show you. Give me a second here. Honestly, for how long ago I did this, a lot of it's held up really well. There's some things I'd like to repaint and redo, but there's our rear bolts in. And I can tighten them up. As you can see, the frame needs cleaned up and painted in some spots. But here's all the... I boxed those lower control arms. I rebuilt those calipers. Those are original dust shields from a California car. Those are new old replacement stock lower ball joints. I put an A-body style oil filter adapter to make it easier to change the oil in this car. It's got a Mopar Performance deep sump pan with the matching extension, and that whole transmission's been built to the nines. Yeah, a lot of little stuff under here I'd like to go back and redo, but that's a job for another day. Our job for today was getting it back together enough that it rolls. So you can see the back mounts are in there now too. So we can actually go ahead and tighten this stuff up now. Alright, let's take a moment to appreciate what we've accomplished here. As you can see, the car is sitting on its own suspension. There's no stands, there's nothing underneath this car right now other than a suspension. So that's an accomplishment. And that also means that if we go outside here for a second, I have my trailer stands back for when I'm working on trailers. So we've got that going for us. Now we'll get the S10 in here for the night and we'll deal with everything else tomorrow. Alrighty, there's the monster down on the ground. I put this door back on. It's obviously not adjusted, but it's down anyway and on. Come back here. Now I slid under here. I still can't find the shackles for this car. I don't know what I did with those. So I had a set from a B body, so I just threw them on for now. So at least I have something on here. God, I don't remember this car being this rotten, but it hasn't deteriorated any while it's been here. So let's have a look in the trunk. I haven't looked in here in years. Ooh. Oh, there's the rubber floors for it. Ah, that's where the rat shroud was. I wonder where that went. Alright, let's pull that out of there. Oh, it's a set of Caravelle door panels. A set of sail panels. Oh, a piece of weather stripping, that's garbage. A really nice grille for this car. That back here too. I have to put the camera down and dig all this crap out. I don't even know what's in here. Alright, turns out there's a whole bunch of crap in there. Really nice Sport Fury grille for my 69. Set of door panels for a Caravelle. 2 sets of door panels for this car. The rubber floor covering, the rear section that goes in the back, behind the back seat. The grill, set of grills for my Ram. The rad shroud for this car. A set of door panels for a 70 Fury and a set of rear door panels for a 69. Go figure. Plus some other assorted trim and whatnot. So that is the original paint on the bottom of this trunk lid. That's actually what that looked like, and that's the original trunk sticker. I figured I'd show you the trunk floor here. Overall, other than a couple little scabby spots and stuff, it's not bad. The back half of this car is pretty decent, in all honesty. So, that's a project for another day, though. Alright, so here we are at our destination with the car. You know, the more I look at it, the more there's a lot of things on this car I'd like to fix properly. I think I'm going to get it media blasted because there's a lot of cheese down in the bottom of the body here the more I look at it. I already have complete lower quarters for it from Texas. But there's a lot of stuff like this I didn't remember. It's all flaky, and there's a hole in the trunk here. This is all gone. This is all gone. In here's all rotted. Right there, there's a hole through, obviously. Same thing over here. I didn't see any of that. Or, well, I guess I wasn't really looking for it. And then underneath here, like this has been patched. So that's got to get all fixed properly. Same thing in here. Frame rail's been patched here, back there. There's a lot of little stuff that needs to be done to this car, which is why I want to get it media blasted. Because I think that would be the way to go. You can see there's like a little hole in the trunk floor there too. Yeah, so that's all a project for another time though. For now, let's get it off the trailer and put away before we have snow. Alright, that's the car indoors for the winter now.